that idea before God hands it to someone else. Use that idea before God hands it to somebody else. One thing I learned about this last shit, and I'm sure that you guys can all relate. How many times have you had an idea, a creative idea, for a piece you're designing, for something you wanted to do, music, whatever, and you just let it fester and you didn't do it. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, you see someone comes out of sometimes the exact same idea. That's because, the ideas, they're in the ether, and they don't just belong to us, so they belong to all of us because we're all one. So the same way that it came to you, it's also being delivered to other people. And if they've got a sense of urgency about them, if they believe in themselves, if they believe in their ideas, if they have some sort of conviction about themselves that when they get an idea, they put it out, they're going to beat you to it. We're not as unique as we like to think. You know what I'm saying? So when you get an idea, it's for a reason. At the very least, make it reality. Put it out. At least create the idea. And then at least put yourself in a position to make a decision whether you're going to, publish it or whatever else. But get into the habit of having urgency, of, closing that gap between idea to execution. You know what I mean? And the best way, to close that gap is by getting out of your own way. You need to stop overthinking. When you sit there and you think about all the things of why it could go wrong or why people might not like it or everything else, this is why they say, smart people don't tend to be successful, because they think they're smart enough to be able to see all the reasons why it could go wrong. Whereas a dumb person is just gonna go for it. And imperfect action consistently is gonna be inconsistent, perfect action every single time. Because you need to build momentum. You need to build that snowball. That's what momentum and motion is probably more important than anything else. And along the way, you'll figure it out. You figure it out. If I can tell you guys anything, is that along the way you figure it out. But you've got to be daring enough to do it. One step in front of the next, and then you go. You don't need to see the whole picture. As long as you can take one step forward, you're gonna be all right. So you need to find whatever way that you can stop overthinking and get out of your own way, so that you just do things. Remember when you were a child, you would just do things. You had an idea to climb up on that tree or build a tree house or, whatever it may be. You didn't then sit there and deliberate and think, oh, is it gonna work? Is it gonna this? Is it gonna that? You would just go and try. And then you go to your parents and ask them for help for this and that, and you figure out, and that's what you need to return to. You need to return back to your inner child of just being curious and just doing it without these little, too much thinking. Less thinking, more action, more doing. That's what we're doing. Agile philosophy.